Okay, so the upper body movements. This is the flat barbell bench press without much of an arch. So you can see Johnny setting up there. Shoulder blades are pinned together, glutes are tight, pausing at the nipple. You don't have to pause the bench press as long as it's consistent. So either do the paused or touch and go. And then this next variation is the powerlifting style bench press where there's more of an arch. You can see he's bringing his bum up closer to his shoulders, and as always the glutes are tight. The range of motion is slightly shorter with the powerlifting style bench, touching to the same place, just slightly below the nipples. This is the incline bench. All of the same principles apply. Try and get the incline on as low as possible. If you can adjust the bench, around 15 to 30 degrees is ideal and just hits the upper chest a little bit more. This is the dumbbell bench, and this is how best to set up for the dumbbell bench. It's often a common question we get asked. And just make sure the range of motion is as much as you can manage without pain, so usually just about touching your chest. This is the incline bench press. Same thing, same kind of setup as well. And dumbbell row, making sure that you're stabilizing yourself and pulling from the elbow so that you're using minimum body English or momentum with that, and the chest supported dumbbell row. So this minimizes the amount of momentum that you can use. Either use the feet of the bench, or if you've got long legs like Johnny, you might have to just anchor yourself on the floor itself. You could also try putting your knees up in the corner of the bench. This is the dumbbell curl, just keeping the elbows tucked into the sides and focusing very much on the mind-muscle connection between your biceps, so keeping everything else as strict as possible. This is the Skullcrusher. This is how we'd set up for that. Again, pivoting around the elbows and bringing the bar down just to forehead level. This is the easy bar curl. Same again, keeping the elbows tucked in, squeezing the biceps at the top, and minimizing any kind of momentum. If you have any issues with that, you can always stand with your back against a wall to minimize that. This is the lat pull down with a regular pronated grip. Try and touch the bar to the top of your chest each time. Notice how at the top going to full shoulder flexion to get that stretch. And then this is the wider grip, lat pull down. We would prefer that you go for the narrower grip, or the supinated grip as is shown here, just because wider grip can sometimes give your shoulders a bit of bother. Again, notice the full shoulder flexion at the top. Now this is the face pull, so great prehabilitation movement for shoulder health and to counteract some of the internal rotation that you get from doing a lot of pressing. These are chin-ups. You can either have your legs hanging straight down or tuck your knees up behind you, as long as you're strict and not using any kind of momentum here. And make sure that you're pulling up to the same spot each time, so nose or chin in line with your hands. This is the bent over barbell row. Notice how Johnny's legs are almost straight. And then this is the Pendlay row, where the bar rests on the floor in between each rep. Notice how he's setting his back before starting the pull, so his back isn't rounded when the pull actually initiates. And this is the bench row. Again, this just takes out the bottom portion of the movement, so it's slightly easier on your lower back. Again, notice how he sets his back tightness first before pulling. And then this is demonstrating how to actually set up for the bench row. So this is the overhead press, or standing strict press, also called military press. Starting with the bar in the rack position and then keeping the elbows in line with the ears. Notice how I'm pushing my head through there on each rep, just to finish off the movement, and bringing it down to between your chin and your sternum, whichever is the lowest you can manage without any kind of discomfort. This next movement is the push press. Notice how I'm dipping into a quarter squat and pushing up from there. This allows you to use more weight and the momentum from the legs. Make sure that you differentiate between strict press and push press. It's very easy for a strict press to turn into a push press if you're not careful. So this is the seated press. Similar to the chest supported row, it just eliminates any kind of potential for cheating. So that's how we set up a bench in a squat rack, and then set up with the bar slightly behind you, set your lats tight, and then press directly upwards so that the bar slides into the rack slightly, keep your lats tight and bring it overhead, and then bring the bar down to chin level. Again, consistency and comparability are important, so make sure that you're bringing the bar down to the same spot each time. This is the V-bar cable pull down. As with the curls, it's also important to just keep the elbows in line with the body and contract at the full extension. And this is using the rope, so similar thing, slightly different grip. You may find this more comfortable. To be honest, it doesn't matter if you want to substitute one for the other, as long as you're strict and keeping the elbows in line. This is a weighted chin up. So notice how setting up with the dipping belt, you can also do this for dips, and make sure also that it's hanging off your bum like that. Okay, so that's it for upper body movements.